Today we're going to go out and visit with Joe and Nancy Drake. They own a 22-foot growing dome just outside of Pagosa Springs. It's about 10 minutes outside of town, nestled in a beautiful canyon right along the river. They've owned their dome since June of 2022, and it's currently February of 2023. So we're going to chat with them about how this first year of dome ownership has been and their experiences with growing in it thus far.
To see you. Come in.
Oh, hi, Toby. How are you?
Come on, Jackson.
Come on in.
Hi, Lenny.
Come on in.
Thank you so much for inviting me over into your home. Can you start with telling me a little bit about yourselves?
Sure, Shelby. I met Nancy back in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She worked for Sears. I worked for Sears, so I got my wife at Sears, which was great. I was a technician at Sears for a number of years, and we ended up retiring out here.
Awesome. How about you, Nancy?
I am a retired teacher. I taught in the suburbs of Chicago and then here in Pagosa Springs. I like what I do now. Being retired is amazing, so very relaxed, and a growing dome is perfect for my lifestyle.
How did you guys find out about growing domes?
I started working in a 26-foot dome. A friend of mine bought a house up Mill Creek here in Pagosa Springs, and it had a dome. She doesn't garden, she works full-time, 2 teenage boys in sports, and she offered it to me to grow, and I was really excited. So it had a plaque on it, and it said growing spaces. I think it even had the year that it was built. And it was a mess because the previous owners hadn't done anything. So started gardening there. But it's a 20-minute drive, and Joe started thinking about, well, maybe we ought to get one. I had taken my class to the ones down by the river, so I knew about growing spaces there. He started going online and looking, and we ended up talking to Tom. He took us for a tour, and I just got to pick the size I wanted. The 26 was more gardening than I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect size for us.
And so what size growing dome do you have?
A 22-foot.
22.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the 26, but I knew that, I thought that was so cool to have the 26, but Nancy said no. It says the 22 is just the exact size that she wanted. So
Yeah.
And it's been perfect. So that's really good.
Great. So why would you choose a growing dome over a traditional greenhouse?
We had one. When I retired, Joe bought me a 8x8 little greenhouse, and it was perfect for growing tomatoes and peppers. But as I found out, it had a lot of shortcomings. One, we really did have to shade it a great deal during the hotter months. And once October rolled around, closing the door wasn't going to be an option. So harvested what we had, and that was that.
I think when we put this one in, we got it in June, and then I think it was like September. You'd open the door, you'd look inside, you'd go, oh my God, look at all of this. And it just like it was like I don't know, just so greenery. It was unbelievable.
Like a little oasis out here.
Oh, I tell you what, yeah. You go if you're stressed and you want to de-stress, you just walk in there and you just go, man, this is so cool.
So it sounds like the growing dome has given you the ability to grow year-round. Are there any other ways that it's impacted your growing abilities?
Yes, there were many things that I could not grow. Many things. We were used to a garden in New Mexico. We were down on the Rio Grande riverbed and had 4 feet to water. It was just perfect for growing, and we were used to having a large garden. As we moved to different states and different communities, found it to be difficult, challenging in other spots. And when we moved here, you can imagine what it was like with the winters being long. Now you know why the birds fly south for the winter, because of the length of winter. We closed down, the greenhouse. We built some cold frames in the back of the house because we could control dropping the lid and retaining the heat during the night, and so we could get into October, which is really nice. This is what we had to deal with here in this valley, is the pocket gophers literally eating trees, anything with a root, they would go for it. And there's nothing we could do until Tom told us about the rodent mesh when we were viewing the domes at Growing Spaces. And we went, So now the cold frames have rodent mesh on it, and our dome has rodent mesh under it as well. Perfect.
We're learning, I haven't had it for the full year yet, so we're still trying to see when to do what and so on. But it's been a total success.
So since this is your first year in the dome, have you found that you have a favorite season or a favorite time that you like to be gardening in there?
All of it, because it's unusual. It's an experiment, and I love the challenge. At first, when I was talking to you about, you're going to shoot it this time of year when things aren't just all glorious and huge and growing feet by day, I go in there now and I just go, this is beautiful. What we have is wonderful.
I think October is my favorite time because you see all those tomatoes getting nice and red.
Like my grandmother, we put all our extras away, other than sharing it with our neighbors and so forth. But we put a lot of our food and eat the summer crop now, and our winter crop as well. So we still have quite a variety.
Do you have a favorite dome-grown recipe that you've created, or something you like
I
to
didn't
make?
create the kale recipe, but I had tried so many of it and finally found one that I'm just nuts about. We can do little variations with it, but I do it in my dehydrator, and we just keep it on the counter as snacks all the time. I think the biggest surprise for me was eggplant. The only thing I've ever had was eggplant parmesan, and I found an eggplant recipe we can't get enough of. It's just fabulous. It's so delicious. I probably should put some of that on the blogs. People are sharing recipes because both of them are really good recipes.
Yeah, if you'd like to share them with us, we'd love to pass it along to the other dome owners, give them some inspiration. So you mentioned that there were some things that you couldn't grow before you owned the growing dome. What were some of those crops?
Well, one of the major things that we could not grow, we are very fond of okra. It's a real southern girl kind of thing, and we couldn't grow it here. Even in my cold frames, I couldn't grow it in the greenhouse. Just wasn't the right environment. So we tried it. It was our first thing to try in the dome, and literally, if you had a time-lapse camera, you could see it going. They were 10 feet tall.
We had a 2-inch stalk, 10 feet tall, and I thought we were going to get 2 or 3 pieces of okra off of it, and that was it. We kept getting okra and okra and okra.
Every day. I'd pick in the morning and I'd pick in the evening. It just blew us away, and we're just so excited.
So how did you choose the location of your growing dome?
Well, I'll tell you, let's walk out on the deck, because that'll tell you why we chose that one. We wanted to keep the dome, even though we love it, its beauty, but we did not want to put it where it blocked our views of the trees and the mountains. We also had the road that came down here and made it really accessible for us. We also wanted to keep in mind that other people will be seeing it, and we didn't want it out in the field where that would be focused for them when they were outside. So we tried to keep in mind other people in our neighborhood. And it really has a nice tucked in from the road. The pine trees cover it, but the dome gets plenty of sunshine. The rodent mesh comes all the way out to the outside of this dome. So we were able to put flowers out here. I love interesting pieces of wood, driftwood, rocks. We have lots of rocks out here. And then Joe, you can tell her about the
So we went ahead and built you can see the outside beds, used some railroad ties we had here on the property. And that's where we have our zucchini plants in the summertime. And now you can see how it's a raised bed area here, a raised area. I tried to use my Kubota tractor to level this, and I said nope. And so I went ahead and decided to hire a contractor to come in and do the bed, and he put in 3/4 minus, and then we put the rodent mesh down around the whole bed.
So did you hire a crew to build the dome, or did you build it yourself?
Oh yes, I was going to do it myself, but then I saw that you guys could go ahead and do it for us, so I hired your crew, and they did an excellent job. And I tell you what, I wanted to help them so much, and I've gotten away a lot. But I tell you, they did a great job, super job.
Let's go ahead and take a look inside.
Okie dokie.
Come on, Jack, we'll go ahead.
Come on, Jack.
He heads right for the raspberry bush.
Oh, yeah, favorite.
Yeah, he does.
Come on in.
Welcome in. Ta-da!
Wow. It's so beautiful in here.
It is, and for a winter garden, I guess it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're still seeing lots of growth in here, especially, thank you, since we have more sunlight these past few weeks. Here's my Vidalia onions and artichokes. I planted the things that I wanted that I've never grown before. I planted the things. When you pay $5 for an artichoke, you say, well, I'll grow that. This is where I'm getting my soil ready for the tomatoes and the peppers and stuff. Of course, kale. We have radishes and carrots. This is my blueberry.
Broccoli going as well.
We have peas, strawberries, garlic, and red onions. Paid $1.47 for a red onion last summer and went, no.
Not again.
No. And I have some bok choy and some leaf lettuce growing.
And the grapevine.
Yeah, the
So
red.
that looks beautiful in the spring and summer.
Oh, it's completely lush and full all the way through. So that's.
So it looks like you guys have made some unique changes to your dome. Looks like we have some kind of special watering system here.
We took a 300-gallon stock tank that we were using in our greenhouse and put it in here to hold water that we pump it from the river just down the
Yards
way.
down.
And we have a water system here with a pump and my hose that I can drag around. And this is how we water, or I can use it as a dipping for small plants or small areas.
That seems like a great way to water, especially in the winter time, because you don't have to worry about dragging your hose through the snow or having it freeze.
The pump would freeze, and that's when we take it out of the river. Then we go to the city water supply with our big 300-gallon tank and fill that into this tank. Okay, there's goes. And this, because I had a hose that every time I took it around it, it kinked and it kinked and it kinked. So we got this one, and it pulls out, and I can go all the way around with it. Ta-da! So I can water.
Great.
Yeah, it is really nice. Nice flow. And then when it's done, it'll just suck itself right back in. So I'm not tripping over hoses
And this has lasted, I think, 300 gallons last, what, 2 months maybe?
at least. Well, in the winter months, you don't need as much water.
And I see you are utilizing your crossbar here, which is something that we do recommend, is to start your seeds up there.
Yep.
The pond is one of the big thermal masses in the dome, so that's going to help keep those seedlings growing and keep that germination rate up.
This platform that Joe built during the summer months when we want less heat on the dome, this is just filled with pots. As you can see, a few of them. This is just filled with pots growing stuff. I have ginger growing and horseradish, and I have olive and well, than everything else you can see. But during the summer months, this platform is covered in pots.
You might be wondering what this mesh is over the vents. The Drakes have installed this to help prevent rodents from getting inside of their dome. And you might notice that the vent opener is disengaged. In Colorado, or in areas where you have snow, it's especially important to disengage your vents in the wintertime to prevent the vent from trying to open and blowing out that piston. And additionally, you can use the snow to your advantage by piling the snow up against the foundation wall to further insulate your raised beds. You do want to keep in mind that the snow should be below the bottom of the polycarbonate. That way you're still maximizing your solar gain. You can also see on the north side here, they've piled up snow to, again, further insulate the dome. And that's your pro tip.
This is something that I want to tell you has just been the best. You got this in growing spaces, and it tells me each month at the early, the mid, and late what I can plant. And it covers just about everything. And so the next month, same thing. So what do I get started in March? They will be here collecting the warmth from the pond.
Do you have fish in here?
We have five
goldfish. Yep.
Yeah, 5 goldfish. It's about 2 inches long. Musetta put it online and said, I've got fish if you want them. Musetta said, I have water lettuce if you want some. So I like the fact that we can collaborate with other dome owners, and if people have something to give away or someone's looking for something, it's right there online. It's wonderful. And then it just creates this whole family of growers. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is what I found. I just think that is so invaluable. I was gardening on my own all those years. So this is really wonderful.
So all of our growing domes come standard with an above ground pond. Depending on the size of dome you have, it will either be an oval shape like this or a circular tank. And these tanks are wonderful because you can use them to create their own ecosystem. You do want to cover the surface with at least 70% vegetation. So here you can see the Drakes have water lettuce, we've got water hyacinths, frog bit, and they even have added these floating planters as another area where they can plant either flowers or produce. One of the options that the Drakes have added to their dome is the solar water feature. In this case, they have installed it on the crossbar and they've piled up a bunch of flagstone to make it look appealing to them, and you can decorate these water features however you'd like.
We put this deck in. Joe put the deck in for me. I had a little bistro set up at the house. I'll use it down here. Then I kind of second guessed and I thought, you know, maybe I should be using this for more garden space. But to tell you the truth, we use this, if not for a glass of wine, it's a workstation for me. My potting sheds are right across. I keep my stuff out here. I'm working from here, planning where I'm planting stuff. And I have my music, and then it's just party time. We use this space in here to put our beer, wine, whatever we're drinking, and all of our food. People come in and sit. We've got the little cushions, which makes it comfy. But then we can all be out there by the fire, and nobody goes home. Everybody stays. It's really lovely. So it's a great environment.
It's great to hear that you're using the dome for other purposes besides just gardening. It seems like it's definitely become a big part of your life.
So when we were looking at other domes online, oh, look at this. And, you know, the bigger ones had the crosswalks and the hanging basket where you could swing in it and stuff like that. We debated whether or not we were going to do anything like that. And again, I said I went back and forth with, am I using this to its full advantage? And my answer is definitely yes. So I'm really happy that we have a little spot here to just enjoy and gather. And
is there anything that you would do differently if you were to get another dome in the future? Or are you pretty happy with how you've got everything set up?
I'm really happy. I think it's experimental always. I'm bold, no fear.
So it looks like your beds are made out of corrugated metal and redwood, potentially?
Yes. I went online and went on YouTube and found a gentleman who was making outdoor beds, and I used his design. And this is a redwood that's pressure treated, and the corrugated metal is just roof material. Bought at Home Depot, and I think I've got about $700 some odd dollars into this right now. And then I went ahead and put a 2x6 across the top all the way around. And the reason I did that is that makes it nice and easy for Nancy to sit and do all of her weeding and gardening. I notice I say Nancy because I built it and she's growing it.
You're the co-pilot, right?
Yeah, I'm the co-pilot. I'm the co-pilot. That's right.
I gardened in a 26-foot that did not have a wide
Top cap?
Yeah, top cap, thank you. And it was very difficult to sit on the edge of something and try to garden. This is very pleasant to just sit and reach over. And again, the depth of the beds also lend to the fact that I can reach over and get the things. So that was all part of the design.
And what did you fill your beds with? Did you use
12 yards of dirt. Okay,
Well,
six yards were from a gentleman up here, not too far from here. He's the mulch guy
On 84.
on 84. And I started with, well, like you showed on some of your videos, I put down twigs that we got down from the river, twigs, pieces of cardboard all the way around the sides, and then slowly started putting in the dirt. And 12 yards at like 22,000 pounds when I was finished. But the nice thing is the very last piece I used was your, what's the soil you call?
the peonia
The
soil?
peonia soil. And I went ahead and put that on the top all the way around here, and greatest stuff in the world.
Yeah, we're going to get more.
We'll get more.
So is there any advice that you would be able to offer future dome owners?
I think if I was going to do it again, I'd go ahead and I probably will. I'd go ahead and bury a line and bring electricity in. Because right now we're using a long extension cord, which is fine, but I need to have it buried. We need electricity, so I'll definitely run electricity in. But I think that's really about the only other thing that I would do for the dome.
And you use the electricity to run your heater in the wintertime?
I have a small 1500 watt heater that I have that, yes, we put in here just to keep it above freezing. So I have the electric heater running, and I have it set for 40 degrees to come on at 40. And it doesn't come on very often, but on these cloudy days that we've had, consecutive cloudy days, I've had it come on quite a bit in the last probably 2 or 3 weeks.
So you've taken us around your dome and shown us what you're growing right now. What are you planning on growing in the spring and summer season?
Well, as you can see with the artichoke and the peas and things that we eat, that we enjoy eating, and the experimental part of it is what really gets me going here in the dome. This spring and winter, there are going to be some plants, yes, from all over the world. I'm doing a beautiful melon from India, and we have Japanese and Chinese and Indian and vegetables from all over. Well, I'm really excited about a green bean that's going to be growing in the dome. It's called dragon tongue, and it's purple and yellow. Why not? Can you imagine the colors?
Sounds beautiful.
And orange okra this year, just because I can, because it's so successful. If it doesn't work, I haven't. I've enjoyed trying.
Ask me.
What are you going to be planting in the dome this spring, Joe?
Tomatoes. I want tomatoes. We had the greatest tomatoes this last year. Oh my goodness, I
They
love
grew up
tomatoes.
the wall. And when you talk about vertical space, they grew up the wall, and you had to use a ladder to pick them.
Wow.
Produce is expensive. You go to the store and you don't want to buy a lot because you don't want it to rot in your refrigerator before you have a chance to eat it. Well, when I pick it fresh, it'll last in my refrigerator. The other thing is that I have variety here, and I can come get it now. When I'm cooking my supper and I go, well, what do I have? And I go, well, I really don't have anything anymore because I didn't buy that much. So constant supply.
We eat more vegetables now than we ever have, I think.
Well, yeah, because they're right here.
They're right here.
It's like having it in your refrigerator, but better.
It's right outside in your own
Right outside.
backyard.
Lettuce
That's right.
and the broccoli are on the menu tonight. So That's how it works. I can leave the broccoli, I can leave the lettuce, I can leave it until I'm ready to eat it. So maybe not so much refrigerated storage.
And lots less food waste.
Oh, none. None.
You know, and like I told you before, inside that there's always buyer remorse when you put something up or buy something. There's been no buyer remorse on this dome. This is unbelievable. I'd recommend it to anyone.
And it is
Great to
just a
hear.
great atmosphere, if I do say so myself.
So Joe and Nancy have shared some of the wonderful things that they've done with their dome to make this space work for them, such as their watering system and the way that they've designed these raised beds. That's the great thing about the Growing Dome, is that you can design it however you want. You can make this space work for you. We hope that you enjoyed this visit and that you either learned something new or got inspired. If you enjoy this type of content and are interested in learning more about growing in a dome or the lifestyle that comes along with owning one, make sure that you like this video and subscribe so that you don't miss future videos in this series. You can also follow us on all of our other social platforms. Those will be linked in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.